Hi, this is the 13th Wolfman. This is another top 5. That's right. This is the top 5 horror movies with really odd true stories connected to them. I know that's a mouthful, so I'll explain it to you. I know when I get a horror film, if it has a commentary on it or a making of on it, I will watch it, or I will, I'll listen to the commentary. And you always hear those stories where someone's like, well, did you know that the flashlight that I used in that thing was blah blah, and something really odd, like Paul Partan from Texas Chainsaw Massacre claims that the flashlight that he used when he was in the wheelchair was a specific flashlight that was like ultra bright. And the guy that actually made the flashlight was, on the same exact commentary. He goes, dude, I made that flashlight. It had a giant cable running. He goes, no, it didn't. Stuff like that. Stuff that, that's kind of odd. So my top 5 horror movies with odd real stories. At number 5, A Bill from Hell. A Bill from Hell is probably one of the lesser known movies out there, but it's got one of the oddest true stories to it. They spent something like 20 days filming this movie, and everything went right. I mean, they didn't have a lot of setbacks. On the last day that they were filming, the director went up to a steeple, like a bell steeple, and to get a shot. And on the last frame of this movie, he's up there, he's shooting, and he winds up dead. He winds up falling out of the steeple dead. No one knows if he jumped or if he just fell. But that's got to be one of the odder stories. So that's number 5. Number 4 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. In the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Gunnar Hansen, when he was running up we all know the door that slides. Well, when he was running up that one time, he's such a big guy that he hit his head on the cross member and almost knocked himself out silly. So, that's number 4, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Number 3, Cannibal Holocaust. Cannibal Holocaust has got to be one of the coolest stories ever, and that is Rogerio Deodato, when making this movie, one of the things he wanted to do was the way he wanted to promote it was he wanted to put the actors in seclusion after the movie was filmed. So people would think, well, this really happened. That's the problem. People thought that this really happened. He was in Italy. He was charged with murdering his cast. He actually spent something like 10 days in jail. And to get out of it, he had to produce the cast. But he did, and they dropped the charges, but still, that's really, really odd. Number 2, Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't know how many people know this. There's probably a lot of people that know this. It's a common story of where the idea for Nightmare on Elm Street came from. Wes Craven, it was in the late 70s, I believe. I don't know if it was before or after he did The Hills Have Eyes, but somewhere around that time, he was reading stories in the newspaper, and he read a story about a Vietnamese or Cambodian 14-year-old kid or something like that died in his sleep. And the more he read about this, the more he found out that he was having bad nightmares. Okay, that's just odd, but no biggie. Well, then a few days later, if not a week later, some time went by, and another another person from the same, you know, Cambodian, Vietnamese, something like that, also died. Another teenager in his sleep, and he was also having nightmares. So this fueled Wes Craven's little idea of, hey, what if there was a creature that could enter someone's dreams and kill them? If they die in their dream, do they die in real life? That's where the idea of, you know, basically Freddy Krueger came from. And the name for Freddy Krueger actually came from a bully that used to pick on Wes Craven. So, there you go. And the number one horror film with an odd, true story to it has got to be Halloween. Yeah. Deborah Hill. This whole movie was pretty much inspired by Deborah Hill, because Deborah Hill was a babysitter when she was a young lady, and she got freaked out one night while babysitting someone's, you know, kids. And she forgot all about this until John Carpenter came up to her and said, "You want to produce a movie?" And they were talking about what it was supposed to be about, and she's the one that came up with the babysitter part and being terrorized. So that's my top 5. I now want to hear your top 5. Please comment, video respond, just get involved. I am the 13th Wolfman, and I'm on the prowl.